Wait a minute, are those maggots? Welcome back, everybody. Filmstruck Film Club's here. It is me, your host, Carson Higgins, with your buddy, Groot, and his two buddies, Freddie and Jason. What? Crazy. Happy October. We're doing our spooky movies for our spooky season. And we watched a pretty famously spooky movie. You always know you're dealing with a horror classic when there's either a bunch of sequels or a remake. And though this movie was remade in 2017 or 18, I haven't watched the remake, so I don't know. But we did watch 1977's Dario Argento classic, Suspiria. And yeah, man, it does it. It does its thing. I don't know about you, but when I watch horror films from the 70s, I rewatched the original Exorcist the other day, and God, it's very, very good. So is this movie, Suspiria. Not good in the same way, I don't think, personally, but call me a desensitized 2023 moviegoer, but they're like not that scary. Okay, they don't give me nightmares. Maybe it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm not watching it in the dark loud enough or something. But all I know is, though this movie is pretty spooky, I don't know if it's as scary as it maybe was when it came out. Different times, you know? But I will say, Dario Argento is a director that I would love to see more of his stuff, because one thing that I really was digging about this film Suspiria of his is his use of color, his use of sound, his use of music, and he does this thing. I don't know if he does it in all of his movies or not, but he certainly does it in this quite a bit, where like there'll be there's two shots in particular that I'm remembering. There's one of a woman painting her nails, and it's like bright red, and where the camera's like boom on the nails, and then the camera pulls away to reveal her painting her nails and another girl in the room, and then it becomes this two shot where like these two women are having a scene. It happens again when like we're watching the water go down the drain, and then the camera pulls out of the drain to reveal our lead character like washing her face, and sort of like, I don't remember if she's hearing voices or what's going on, but this thing where it's like we start very close on like this one object and use that to bring us into the scene, and it's a very cool stylistic choice. But Suspiria, let's get into it. I will say, I already said it's from 1977. This movie is a very well reviewed film. Critics seem to like it. Audiences have seemed to like it over the decades. It is always going to show up on like lists of the best horror films ever, or like scariest scenes ever, or any list like that. This movie's bound to show up, and usually in the top half of it. Because it's just undeniably an influential piece of horror movie mayhem. It's been compared to as like the best example of like a nightmare being put on screen, and I agree. I felt that way when I watched Blue Velvet. I felt that way when I watched Eraserhead. I guess David Lynch and Dario Argento are great at putting nightmares on screen. There's just like an unreal reality to him. This film in particular has very bright colors, beautifully bold blue and red, whether it be the interior of the Ballet Academy or whether it just be the lighting of, I don't even know what. Like right at the beginning, our main girl, who, let me get this right. So her name is Susie in the movie, but Jessica Harper, who celebrated her birthday earlier this week. Happy belated birthday, actress Jessica Harper. But at the very beginning of this film, she gets off the plane, she's in the airport, she flags down a taxi. Taxi driver's not very nice. But it's raining, it's pouring rain. She gets in the back seat of this taxi cab, and there's this beautiful like pink and blue light. And it's just it shows up a lot. It's like the color palette of this movie. And somehow it does kind of give you this eerie, out of reality thing. I don't know. And just describing it as a nightmare is very good to me. Works for me. Yeah, it has a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, y'all. So at least the algorithm thinks this movie is great. I also think this movie is great. And the thing that I noticed right away that is used to great effect throughout the film, but this score that was co-created by Dario Argento and an Italian band called Goblin. You know, reading, it's great. But there's like this incessant theme. It almost never goes away, or if it does go away, you barely notice it because it's happening so often that it's like hypnotizing in a weird way. But this score is used so effectively because it'll be happening and it'll be like pretty forward in the mix, and then like on a visual cut, it'll go to like something very quiet or to a very specific sound, and then like we cut back into the music, and so this like sonic jarring thing that's happening with the visual, like it just is a very affecting horror movie thing. Like if you wanted to go make a horror movie, watch this movie and steal from it, because everyone that has made some pretty cool shit. Yeah, I did read that it is based on an essay, which is kind of cool. You know, shout out to essays. They don't get a lot of adaptation credit anymore. So good on you, Dario, for finding an essay and adapting it into a movie. From what I understand, the essay and the finished screenplay are rather different from each other, but it did deal with like some haunted dance academy. Yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, and since we haven't really talked about it here yet, it is about an American ballet dancer. She goes to Germany to this very prestigious German dance academy. She gets there, feels like it's a little weird, pretty much immediately. It opens, it's like she gets there in the rain, and there's this other girl who like runs away, and then they don't let Susie in, and you're like, what the fuck? And then we follow the girl who ran away, and very briefly we learn about her, and then she's fucking brutally murdered. So is her friend. So it's just like, oh, it's okay. This is that kind of movie. I did start by talking about maggots, and like, holy shit, that was easily the grossest part for me in the whole movie, was when all of a sudden the entire ceiling is maggots raining down on people and in their hair, and it wasn't for me, man. It was gross. lots of maggots. But yeah, man, there's a great, like, the original trailer of this film says something like, the last 12 minutes of Suspiria are the scariest thing ever. And no, it's not. But it's pretty fucking weird. This whole movie's pretty fucking weird. I get the sense that Dario likes to make weird movies. I'm very curious to go check out Inferno and his first film, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. He's like, I don't know. He's a very cool Italian director. He just happened to make gross-ass horror movies, and which is a genre that I haven't typically been in historically. Haven't been like super into it. They used to really freak me out, horror films. And now, as the years have gone by, I've been slowly getting more and more into it, and visiting classics and learning about them and why they're classics. And so it's fun. It's been fun to... it's like I've been saving this genre for my adult self, and so now I'm getting to reap all the benefits of putting them off. Yeah, I got nothing else to say other than you should watch Suspiria. I'm going to watch the remake by Luca Guadagnino. Is that how you say his last name? The guy who made like Call Me By Your Name and stuff. I'm very excited to see that. Dakota Johnson, Mia Goth, Tilda Swinton. They're in the remake of Suspiria. It's a whole hour longer than the original one. So I wonder what on earth happens in that movie to make it so much longer. But I'm looking forward to it. I've heard it's good. Anyway, there will be another spooky pick coming for you this weekend. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to watch some more scary movies this month. So yeah. Groot, Jason, Freddy, anything? They just think you should watch some fun things because it's October. And I agree. So much love. Peace out. Talk to you soon. Be on the lookout for another pick.